Hello everyone, this is Professor Hill. This is a short video for our class Introduction to Ethics, Philosophy 2306 here at St. Philip's College. This is the short, condensed, online version of the class for the summer 1. Today's Friday the 14th, 2019. And turns out we've been walking through Chapter 1 to look at some of the key concepts, in part because people have still ordered and are getting their books, the textbook Doing Ethics by Louis Vaughn. You're going to need it, so get it. But in the meantime, we want to make sure that we're talking about some of the key concepts and are getting ready to apply them to our case study, which is Sunday night. And again, just to make sure that we're clear about how the case studies work, you want to write essentially an essay and then copy and paste that thing into the discussion. And after you do that first step, go through, read some of the other ones, comment on at least 2 of your classmates. That'll be helpful. So that's how you do the whole assignment. And when you're writing that essay, some people have asked me, they've written and said, look, is our minimum word count? And I've said, no, I've tried to stay away from that. I want people to just focus on the quality, focus on answering the question. And that's going to take some time. So what you need to do is have it be long enough to address all of the questions, all the concerns, and also to remember to incorporate in the concepts and definitions from the chapter. Do not just read the case study and go, oh yeah, I got some thoughts about that, blah, 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 because that's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is stop, think about it, reflect on it, and do that in light of some of the key concepts from our textbook and incorporate those into your response, into your little mini essay for the discussion and, for your responses to your classmates as well. So that all being said, some folks are coming along. Some have already got their discussion posts up and they've completed the assignment. That's good. That gives new people as they're coming in the ability, after they post theirs, to read through some of the other ones and comment on at least 2. So you want to do that. And in terms of the chapter, the next section that he's talking about, he's first laid out the different types of ethics, and we walk through those. The next thing he's going to talk about is this section about if you have a moral system, if you have an ethical code personally, what would it need to look like in order to be logical and fair and just in terms of your decision making? And so he says, look, your system of ethics, your sense of personal morality, it should be, consistent and coherent. In order to do that, he identifies a couple of different aspects of that. And the first thing he says is that we should have a preeminence of reason. And what he means by that is, look, we're complicated animals. We're complex critters. We have got all different kind of sides and dimensions to ourselves. We have spiritual sides, physical sides, emotional sides, psychological sides. We have all this going on. And what he's saying is, put logic first, because when you use your reason to determine difficult ethical decisions. And the point he's making is our emotions can be overwhelming, especially dealing with very difficult, complex ethical issues. Now, he takes it a step further than I would. He says, you should just shut all of that off to the side. Don't pay any attention to your emotions. They can misguide you. In fact, he uses some pretty strong language saying that our feelings can essentially pull us off the path of trying to figure out what's the right thing to do. So he says, shut them aside, focus on your reason. Well, I get his point, but I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. I would say, look, bring all of who you are to every complex decision that you have to make, certainly the moral ones. And so I wouldn't say shut all that off to the side. I would say keep every single dimension of you, bring your whole person to these questions, but I would prioritize reason. That makes sense. In fact, the title of this little section is called The Preeminence of Reason. I think that's perfect. Because saying, well, I'll give it first place, but not exclude the rest, I'll bring them as well, is kind of how I would come down on this. He says, no, reason and reason alone, everything else is dangerous to us. I do want you to think about that in the chapter. because he goes on to say the reason we have to not pay attention to our feelings is that they could just reflect, you know, bias and prejudice and cultural influence. And I kind of thought to myself, well, you know what else can reflect that? Our thinking. It's not just that our feelings get somehow inflamed and overwhelm us because of these things. They also affect our thinking. So it's not somehow that reason is immune to these things. He read that chapter and look at that and decide for yourself whether or not you think he's right. We should just become, and I'll say this in a very prejudicial way, like robots or computers or, Mr. Spock or something like that, and just get rid of emotion, or whether or not we just want to make sure it's there, but reason's leading the way. I recommend that one. Anyway, if you got any questions, give me a call. I'll do some more tomorrow about chapter 1 in our textbook. Take care. Bye-bye.